Well, welcome, Akindele.
Thank you.
Um, Say, what inspired you to compose the Yoruba life cycle dances?
Well, what inspired me to compose Yoruba life cycle dances is really the need to bring cultures together. So, of course, as you know, Yoruba life cycle dances includes a lot of the melodic passages from my tradition. And so I'm trying to bring that and merge it together with Western music.
And when you say you bring some of the music from Yoruba, is are they melodies from the actual life cycle ceremonies? And I wondered if you'd partaken in them when you were there.
Yes, actually, they are the melodies from the life cycle ceremonies, and I have participated in some of those while I was living in Nigeria.
And are the three ceremonies that we're doing the music for, the naming and the marriage and homecoming, are those just some of them, or is that all of them in the usual ceremony?
No, those are just some. So there are many rituals. It could be for housewarming or even engagement ceremonies, and so there are different ceremonies, including burial. So I just selected just a couple of them.
And what did you most want to take from the ceremonies in communicating the music? What did you most feel inspired to bring from it? Is it the melodic material or the experience? Because when I listen to it, it feels in real time. The way the repetitions happen and things, it feels like you're setting a place.
Right. Well, what I'm trying to do really is to bring new ideas because I think because of different cultures that we have in the world, I think Yoruba culture plays a major role because of the tonality of the language and the uniqueness of the culture. So I'm trying to bring that in so that future classical composers can also have more materials to actually use in new creations and new compositions in classical music.
And how does your experience with Yoruba affect your spiritual life now and as you're also you're Jewish now, is that right? Or
Right.
practicing
Actually,
Judaism?
yeah, it's interesting the effect that my culture, Yoruba culture, and my now newly found religion, Judaism, in fact, they complement each other because there are many things in my tradition that is actually done that's actually in Judaism already. And I think the reason why that is because a lot of black African tribes actually lived in Nubia about 15, up to about 1500 years ago. And I think because of the rise of Islam at that time, that's why a lot of African tribes dispersed into the south or the west of Africa. And so a lot of the traditions were already overlapping. So
Mm.
Yoruba tradition and Judaism has a lot in common.
Do you want to speak a little about classical fusion? You've been mentioning that's a term that is you've coined that expresses what you're after.
Yeah, it could be a temporary naming of this genre that I'm working on, but I think the idea here is to culminate different traditions and bring it with Western music, with Western classical music, to provide some basis or some background for upcoming composers in future. So the idea here is to really bring it together and create a forum, something that they can actually draw from.
Do you think that you were born in Germany, but you were raised a good deal in Nigeria? Is that right?
Yes, I was born in Germany and I spent about 12 years in Nigeria, West Africa, from about age 5 to age 17. And so I think those formative years really gave me some deep cultural roots in the Yoruba tradition.
And I'm just curious how you see your German, infancy, the impressionable early years of your life, and how, I mean, here you're working with a fusion idea that is very Western in terms of its its history and continuity of notation and instrumentation, and you're bringing the your Nigerian roots into a, you see it as bringing it into a classical world more, like that it hasn't been done.
Right. Well, it has been done some. You know, there are many different, actually, many cultures actually in the world that have actually brought some of their own cultures into Western
Oh, sure.
classical music. However, my idea here is to get the classical music, since it actually has all the notations, they seem to be the latest and the most advanced in terms of notating music. So that's the reason why I'm trying to get Yoruba traditional music and some of the culture to actually, and the instruments and the tonality to be brought into this type of notation. That way, if we can actually standardize the notation of Yoruba music and melodies, then more people can actually perform these pieces.
I think my question was really trying to get at was, how do you feel that growing up in Germany has affected your musical identity, and how you approach your roots of Yoruba music and experience.
I think my being born in Germany and the combination of my being also a Yoruba person from Nigeria, West Africa, and the combination of those two cultures is actually not very foreign in terms of African life, because, as you know, we were colonized by the British. So we, for the most part, have Western culture within African, tradition, as well as the regular tradition. So it's not that far off the German tradition from the British tradition for the most part. So it doesn't seem foreign to me. It's actually it complements each other.
What is your favorite language for composing, for setting song? You speak German
I
and English,
would
and
say probably Yoruba, my language, only because I know the nuances of the language. I know the intricacies of the culture, and there's a lot of beauty in the language itself. Of course, because I know it really deeply. But I think after that, I would say English for sure, and yeah. So.
German's getting down.
Yes, I've not really written anything particularly in German language as far as the song is concerned, but I'm working on it.